All right, welcome back to Undefining, the podcast where we break free from labels, laugh at the expectations people put on us, and figure it all out in real time. I'm your host, Glo Butler, and today we're diving into comedy, culture, and identity with a truly dynamic guest. Check it out. Join me in welcoming our guest today. Melody Kamali is an Iranian-American queer comedian, podcaster, and storyteller based in Brooklyn, New York, a former co-host of the LGBTQ. God dang, it's almost like it's painful saying that. LGBTQ podcast, Diking Out. They started their stand-up career in the Chicago comedy scene and studied improv at the Annoyance Theater. Now performing regularly throughout the city. They have appeared at festivals like New York Comedy Festival, Beyond the Stage, and the Mic. They work as a creative producer and video editor, bringing stories of life across multiple platforms. They are currently working with Gotham FC, adding yet another dynamic layer to their career. Today, we're talking about their journey, how their identity has shaped their comedy, the power of storytelling, and what it means to embrace the undefine yourself in an industry that loves to put people in boxes. Melody, how are you today?
Hi, wow. Had I known you were going to read that to me, to everyone, I would have edited it for sure.
Oh, really? I think it was great. Like, I think that when it comes to bios, like, in
the most
sending
awkward.
Because we're not like narcissists and like that far into ourselves like that. Like, oh my God, let me type all this stuff about me. But how are you doing? We're filming this in the morning if you can't tell by my swollen eyes, but how are you doing today?
My rasp.
Yeah, right.
I am great. I am sleep deprived. It's a Saturday. I had the choice to sleep, with my Monday through Friday work schedule to get good sleep. It's the weekend. Did I?
Yeah.
No. I got so addicted to this PBS documentary I stumbled upon past midnight. So it was it's called The Great Migrations or something about it's people on the move. It's about how Black Americans, African Americans would go from the South to different cities and just moving north, and then eventually there were episodes on first moving north in general, then to Chicago specifically, and how that community blossomed, and New York, Harlem Renaissance, going to LA. And it was, the archival footage was so good. I couldn't, normally when I watch things I fall asleep, but I got more and more like energized, and suddenly it was 4:30 a.m. and I had to take a sleeping pill, and here we are just hours later.
So you've literally only gotten like 3 or 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, worth it. It was so cool. I'm still have a little to go, but it's really good.
But number one, I love documentaries, and then I think that learning, like if they had played this in school just to learn, I would be like, man, get the hell out of my face.
Right. Same, yeah.
But to see that, like, to actually have interest in it, and it also, a good documentary always hits at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. So it's like you're just starting, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit on this couch right now. But that's incredible. Is there was anything a part of it that was new for you, or that you weren't aware of?
I really liked learning about the publications, and how just information got around Black America before social media, stuff like that. Before that, when publishing was already so new. So it was really cool learning about in Chicago this paper called the Chicago Defender, I believe. And they showed photocopies of it. They had really fun like political cartoons, stuff about like leaving the South, and that reflected their experience, essays like that. Like, I want to go look up archival whatever really I can find about the Chicago Defender. It seemed like a really cool thing.
And it's it was after I started, like, I've met a few people from Chicago. I was like, why do they sound so Southern? And,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's when I you would think that. See, that's why you should pay attention in class when you're in elementary school.
I
but,
didn't.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, this is new for me too.
I know, it's interesting. And who would have thought if you told me like high school me about streamers, I'd be like, what? And then I would understand, and then I would be like, well, I would probably spend all my time watching the Marvel stuff, or just like I'm watching what I was forced to watch back then. And I'm loving it.
It's cool.
$4.99, not bad for PBS documentary subscription.
That is hilarious. You know what? Those are things that no one. Documentaries, and watching them and embracing them now as adults, it just hits different. I think it does. And I watched a documentary on like Black Indians, and my grandfather, my mom's dad, is a Black Indian, but that wasn't something that I would just put it this way, like growing over time, because of how messed up this country is, they didn't really recognize them as their own, kind of race or whatever. And so it's one of those things where they just kind of blended in with the rest of like Black people, and they are Black, like they have chocolate skin like us and stuff like that, but that's a unique part of them, but that's not something they can go to school and like talk about and stuff like that. So I watched the documentary on PBS. That's where I was going with this. The apps that we don't even like, I always tell my mom, I'm like, don't get cable, just get like a bunch of apps, because like I pay a subscription to Home and Gardening, and or Discovery, because I love watching
Discovery.
House Hunters.
Good,
yeah. So
oh my God, we are so aligned. That's
we're
what I've been falling asleep to every night. But sometimes I get too into it. I love House Hunters, House Hunters International, House Hunters Renovation, all of them.
All of it. House Hunter International gets me out of this country. It's amazing.
Yeah, oh my God. It's like my favorite show. And I thought I'd try something new. And that's when I went over to the PBS app instead of whatever I watch, Disney Plus, the House Hunters on.
See, that is insane.
So
and for those who don't know, me and Melody have the same exact birthday. So this doesn't like.
And if you don't know, how do you not know that? Can you not?
Right,
feel
exactly.
That?
What's wrong with you? You haven't done your research.
Can you not pick up?
All right, so I want to get things started. I want to start talking about comedy and stuff, okay? So I just want to get started from the beginning, like when you were in the womb. No, I'm just kidding. But I know
story, actually.
Right? It's like the way I was swimming in there and trying to get out. But growing up as a first generation Iranian American, what was your relationship to comedy? Did you always see yourself going this route?
No, not at all. Not going this route. Great. I loved comedy, big comedy nerd growing up as a little kid. Like the Persian of it all. Persians are just natural storytellers. So, and like really animated people to begin with. So any given night, having friends or family over, there gets to a point where the table's cleared, and then it's just like, maybe there's a little wine, beer. Everyone's just like jubilantly telling stories. Ooh. And just like the act outs of it all and the different voices. Oh, wow. And especially growing up Iranian. Persian Americans have this like added layer of like telling stories of their experiences out in the world. Like I loved hearing my parents' stories over the weekend with my aunts and uncles about like their little little interactions with like white people or like people at work, and like how like whenever they would do like an impression, like I would hear like an exaggerated voice, I'd like run from my bedroom because they're making fun of white people. And it was like either telling stories of back home just to keep that attachment to a place where you can't return because it is so violent, and they were like very much exiled.
Probably just taking away something that like you could at least hold on to, like a memory that, or like your culture, like things just that make sense. Whereas like you can be in a place where people have judgments and feel the way they feel, but this perspective of how, like, I would put it this way: anybody who's oppressed in a certain country, I would put it this way, like it feels. I think that people do a really great job at keeping their spirits high when it's involved in line with like some sort of discrimination, some sort of BS and dealing with white people, I guess.
Yeah. You're spot on. They, that's how they stayed happy being illegal immigrants, like fearing for their lives, getting like letters in the mail constantly, threatening deportation. Like they were stressed, my parents. Like I was raised in a stress bubble, but then at the same time, it would be like one extreme to another. It'd be like Persian time when like the other Persian families, like my dad's brothers and his families and my cousins would all come over. And I am an Iranian citizen. I've never been to Iran. I'd probably get killed if I did these days. Like I learned that diking out was banned in Iran, so I'm like, I know who I am.
It was like they have your face posted up somewhere, like don't let her
yeah. I got a message, a DM from a Tehran listener. It was like, I love this podcast, but only recently it got filtered out, and so my mom's afraid of me going because I could immediately get detained if I land and they figure out who I am. Because it is illegal to be gay.
That's just the only critical. Rough part. Yeah, that's it. That's I guess that's like really rough because I'm sure like growing up, you know, it's one of those things where like you're seeing all these pieces of yourself that's coming together for you and making sense for you, but it's like being able to share that and tell that to the world and be able to like, to not necessarily that you want to announce like who you are, but you know, just being able to embrace all sides, even through like the dark. The not so cute part.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's only recent. Like I used to lie after 9/11. I was really not trying to let anyone know I was Middle Eastern. I'd be like, no, I'm Italian and Greek and whatever the passable white kind of hairy ones are. Yep, that's me, Mediterranean, but the non-scary one. Like I lied about my ethnicity because it was just so scary after 9/11.
Oh yeah, I know. I this was like maybe 10 years later. I work for an Iranian doctor. Shout out to Dr. Hizavi, one of my favorite people. But he's in DC. There was a girl that was the front desk when I started there, and she's also Iranian. And she said that for a long time she told people that she just said she was Persian.
It's less threatening.
I was shocked because I was just like, I thought black people just had it bad, you know? But I was just like, I like put everything together. I came naive from South Carolina, so there's not a lot of like, you know, like exposure to different cultures and stuff like that. But man, I felt really bad because I was just, she made it sound funny, but I was just like, this is so sad. Like nobody should have to lie about their identity, or maybe just like shake things up a bit.
But apples and oranges, you know, black people can't be like, I'm not black. What are you talking about?
Right. Exactly. They were like, what are you looking at? You're colorblind.
Like, finding a sexier name, maybe like I'm Ebenesian. What are you talking about?
And it's hilarious. It's like, open your eyes. What are you seeing? What you're not seeing? Oh my God, which goes into my next question. Great segue. How did your identity, both culturally and as a queer person, shape your perspective on humor? Like, I know you were touching on that with, you know, being in the household surrounded by, you know, your family who can make jokes out of moments or tell stories and stuff. So like, how did that kind of, did you know when you were going into comedy that was something that you were going to be talking about or sharing with the world? You know?
No, because I started comedy in a really masculine, like, I didn't really talk about it at first. Yeah. And this was before it was cool to be a little different. And then it became really cool, and now it's actually very scary. Kind of a full circle. Okay. But I was like out to friends, but not really like talking about it, so I didn't imagine like having jokes about it. But as I got more comfortable and like better at stand-up, then I started feeling more comfortable, I guess, talking about it. But queerness, it is inherently funny. Any kind of other identity is going to give you a different perspective on things, which only makes you more unique, interesting, funny. So I did eventually embrace it. And then I got to a point where all my jokes were about being gay. And I was like, that's not all I am. I'm still trying to figure out a balance because sometimes I'll be like, wait a minute, that was 85% of the set. But yeah, definitely not at first. I did storytelling a lot in Chicago. There's a huge storytelling scene. Like Mike specifically for it, way more shows for it. Like it's like a culture. And that's where I would really get into like the queer storytelling because I would have more room to breathe. Like at the mics, you get 10 minutes for storytelling mics versus like 3 minutes at a stand-up mic. So yeah, that I would get really into storytelling and live lit. I went to Columbia College Chicago, which is like a media arts school. I was studying TV and film, but also majored in creative nonfiction, which was like a lot of like personal essays. Yeah, that's when I really started to like dig into like what was unique about me and what it lended itself to, like lens wise, storytelling wise. And then, starting to write personal essays and then finding out about this storytelling scene and getting on those mics let me start to explore it. There's Samantha Irby, this iconic writer. She has all these different books of essays, meaty, We Are Never Meeting in Real Life. She's very funny. She was like someone, and she's queer now out, and I didn't know she was at the time. I just thought she was like a funny black lady, doing these live lit mics. She had a blog called Bitches Gotta Eat that I started to follow, and I went to some of her shows and got really inspired because she really goes there, like lots of like essays and storytelling shows about like her IBS and like dating as like a flat cut that a fat black woman very
tomato.
actually curvy, so oops. But yeah. And then there were a lot of queer people in that storytelling scene. Queers love to gab, tell a story. But growing up, my best friend's older brother was like a high school dropout. He had like moved to New York. Grew up in central Connecticut. Then like New Haven, he was just like all over the place, crashing on people's couches. He would like go and collect these stories and then come back and tell us like sheltered little girls all about like the latest like fight he got in with someone outside of a gay bar harassing him in the city, or like this or that. He just was the most exciting person, and he would hold us hostage after school, and he kind of talked too much, but he would really like the way he told stories in this gay way. Like he introduced me to a lot of gay culture. To Wong Fu, watched that movie for the first time with him. Yeah, but I'm a cheerleader. Like he was my entry into like queer culture before I knew I was super queer, but also like the storytelling part of it.
Yeah. I think that that's what helps even makes you a better, almost a better like a great comedian when it comes to like queer comedian, because I feel like there's a lot of gay comedians, but I've seen a lot of maybe not, I wouldn't say they're not funny, but I wouldn't say not as, I think delivery wise maybe needs more work with like, or how to like really talk about their identity and stuff like that, because I do feel like there are times where we can sound like really dark or we can sound like, okay, this is good, like this person really knows how to like turn their humor into, turn like a dark thing or a bad idea, what I'm trying to say. Like basically it's something where we turn dark into light, or we just make light of a lot of things and we make it funny. It's not just making light, making it funny is a unique gift. And I think like when you have to go some parts of your life, like even saying kind of changing around like how you even tell people who you are or what background you have, I think that that's another thing that kind of helps you develop like those funny skills of just being like, I'm gonna beat you to the punch before you get to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. God, even watching this documentary, I'm like, all they had was word of mouth and verbal storytelling to document their stories and their like lineage and their culture, and that applies to so many different cultures or oppressed people, and it's how you keep record is a big part of disenfranchised groups, like minority groups. So of course we're going to be better at it. It's so it was a skill, but it's like almost like in the DNA.
Yeah.
A lot of groups.
Yeah. That's how we deal with it. So I know you were saying that it was a lot different when you started out in comedy and like even the scenes. I mean, I feel like I've started out in DC and it was like that. I think that it was okay to talk about being queer and stuff. It was definitely fine, but I think that it was interesting. I think there were just I had like close guy friends in the scene, and I think they were protecting me. You know, because I was never like a high femme, but I would just say I looked very girly and in a way where like, I think my personality is different than like the way I dressed a little bit, because I felt like at that time I was just like, oh my God, okay, I'm out fresh out of the South. Let me like, present myself in this way. My hair was different, everything like that. But, being able to look appealing to the audience and safe to the audience was one thing that I just want to, me wearing like plaids and these button ups and stuff. They're just like, hold on a second, so I think that, that's one thing that takes some adjustment, but that leads me, mentioning this because this leads me to my next question, but you started out in Chicago's comedy scene and studied at the Annoyance Theater, which is an incredible name for a theater. What were those early days like any moments where you thought, okay, this is it, I need to do this? Like, did you have like a shaky start where you're just
I did a lot more stand-up in Chicago than improv, for sure. I was really scared about improv because, it's a lot of white people. And it's like, I was like, I don't know how to relate to them. I'm not going to know how to jump in a scene and be able to be in a scene because I loved stand-up because it's just you and your perspective. Yeah. But starting out, there was, Cameron Esposito, the stand-up, lesbian stand-up. They started a class called Feminine Comique, Femcom, how to for women specifically to learn like the foundations of stand-up, but then also there was like a show at the end, so you can get that experience at the Lincoln Lodge, really fun venue, comedy collective, and that was really fun. The show was like so supportive, but there was still something I was like, this feels too supportive. Like, it's just
right. Yeah.
There's like a lot of like
that
people
feeling can be awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. Laughing and clapping before I got to the punchline, just like, we support you. And so I was like, am I?
Let me talk.
Yeah. Or are we all just hyping each other up for the junk we were born with? So it was a rocky start because I went from like crushing at these like women only shows and mics to like being thrown into the complete opposite world and just bombing for dudes, and then realizing it took a while to be like, I'm not unfun. It's just all the same kind of Midwestern white guy in this basement in Wicker Park. Like, so actually that's when I started going to music mics. But yeah, that's the hack for anyone starting stand-up. Does anyone start by going to a mic anymore, or do you just go on TikTok? I don't know.
That was a light bulb that just went off over the past couple of weeks of like saying, oh, so it's social media that's doing the job for comedy now. Like it's
a different world.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously there's nothing beats live stand-up comedy and jokes. No. Yes. And they're still around. So if anyone's looking to start, I would go to a music mic because you would get 8 to 10 minutes, like these storytelling mics. They wouldn't know what to do with a stand-up when you would show up. So I lived in the gay village, Boys Town, and there was like the one. Nice. Market Days, shout out. I just a few blocks away. It was like the one straight bar in Boys Town, but it was still like super queer and accepting. It's called Town Hall Pub. They had a music mic, and they wouldn't know what to do with stand-ups when you showed up. So they'd be like, okay, 10, 12 minutes? Like, because the musicians would get 2 songs. So they'd be like, what's the equivalent to that? So I got room to breathe again, like a place to explore and like loosen up and try stuff out, but then also have like a general audience of like regular people, like not the bottom feeder open mic, like incel. Sorry, I'm having some revelations about.
I was gonna say, I was like, I'm catching feelings. Like, I wanna, like, I was like, you wanna talk about it? Because I was just like,
I hate it. Well, I was surprised that you actually asked me to do this because I've taken a break from comedy since August. Literally, what day? It's Saturday, Thursday night. I went on stage for the first time in months and months. I'd never in over 10 years taken such a break, like gone this long.
How do you feel? I mean,
I was so psyched out. I just kept getting booked for shows and canceling them last minute. Then it would turn into saying no. And I've done that to you, but I have also done that to you when I
don't remember
had my
I'm
period.
Not hurt.
No, I didn't do it because your show is so much fun. I just want you to know, because I did cancel once. I was cramping real bad.
Yeah. No, you were actually sick. There was one time you were actually like really sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I think that you know, that break helps. You know, one thing that's how I felt like a year ago, and I think, you know, hosting stuff and whatever it makes you see things differently, and it makes you almost dislike a lot of things. So I was just like, I don't like the way I'm feeling, you know. So I did slow down, and then now it's just I'm getting everything back up, but it's like I feel like I'm not getting booked enough. I get, you know, I have on shows, but like getting to where I want to get my tape and to show other people what I have, you know, or being able to like just post, and, you know, now you got to do everything on TikTok and on Instagram and stuff again and stuff. So it's just kind of like, it's one of those things where you almost, that time what ends up happening is you have another vision for something else. 'Cause it's not just stand up and that's it. That's always going to be the piece of you. That's always, you can always go and perform. You're always going to know people, and you're always going to be a part of the scene. You can always jump back in whenever you want, you know, but it's just
Stand-up
the way the scene is just, it will. But the way is so different now. There's so many young, fresh, wet behind the ear comics.
I was like, did I age out of stand-up though? Like
I feel that way too. Am I that bitter 40-year-old? Yeah.
Oh God.
It's not bad, but the scene is definitely a lot different. It changes by the minute, and
and that's why I kind of had to stop, because I was so resistant to the change. I was like, I don't want to edit TikToks. Editing is my day job. Like, I don't want to.
Going home
like
and having to do that.
Hate so much. I was like, I hate so much about stand up. The only part I like is the actual being on stage and performing. But that you have to like grind and get with the times, you know, and crank out your reels. So I was like, I don't.
You gotta stay consistent. I mean, stay relevant.
And I didn't.
To people. And people forget. And I didn't even I could just change my hair. And people were just like these new, especially the newer ones that like where we didn't spend, you know, me and you, like we know, like I've spent so many times in the mic, like where it's just like 5 or 6 others, you know, especially like Andy's mic or something, and we were just like seeing each other every week, you know what I mean? But like I miss those days. I know the days
pre-pandemic.
There's not like I don't know any good mics. Right now, there used to be obvious like places you can find stuff like that. Things are just so.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I'm doing stand up for the first time in, let me see, 5 months. Wow, like,
but your memory muscle is gonna jump back in there. You're just and you're gonna. It's like you never left.
I made a point to go to a queer mic, because it's gonna be the most. Not accepting, like good vibes. Like I'm not gonna go to like a straight mic when I ease back in. But also it was. I mean, you should go to this one, Fran. It's a Fran Drescher themed open mic.
I heard about mic. Fran. I was on They also had a show like
Brooklyn Comedy Collective.
Okay, so is it at Brooklyn? That's hosted.
No,
Mary.
Mary Posa and Ryan Leach.
Okay.
The mic is at Easy Lover every other Thursday, 8:00 bucket. It used to be sign up online and you would DocuSign and confirm that you were a queer person or a woman, but now they've turned it into a bucket mic, and so like straight guys are showing up, which is crazy. And there were 2 straight guys from out of town who showed up, and just watching them bomb, like try to do their gay material, which is them just punching down, and like the punchline is that they're gay. Like, it was so fun. But why did I bring that up? I don't know.
Because you're getting back into, or you're going after like queer mics, and you're gonna.
It was a good way to ease back in,
like
amongst queer people, and
I prefer them. I prefer them now. Like, now that there's options for that, because we've both known that used to not be having queer comedy shows. It wasn't even like it wasn't as popular. There now. They come a dime a dozen. There's like so many. There's a moment where I felt like I was the only one like probably focusing on BIPOC comedians, and now there are people, which I'm happy that they're like now doing shows and booking and more intentional over that, instead of us being like the token on these shows. So let's talk about Diking Out. Like, Diking Out was probably my all-time top podcast, probably till this day. It was just one of those podcasts, because you felt seen. It's like when you discovered the L word for the first time. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, you and Carol, I think that it was one of those things where, like, it was meant for millennials. It was meant for,
super millennial, in that I'm so scared of how horribly and cringe it's, like, aging.
Yeah.
It can't be aging well.
Yeah, but I think that is still like, it's a part of history. You know what I mean? It should be
it's
in
a
like
record.
It should be in her museum. What is that museum over here? Where like
it should be in the Leslie Loam Museum.
So as a former co-host of Diking Out, you had countless deep and hilarious conversations about queer life and culture. What did hosting that show teach you about yourself?
Taught me that, well, there were so many guests that were just like really inspiring that I was like, I don't want to interview them. I just want to listen. So it was, inspiring to see how people with similar backgrounds, because sometimes I would book people and be like, this is a bisexual Iranian director who is releasing a book of essays. I really think they should be on, because I was just a fan. But then seeing, like, I'm thinking specifically of Desiree Akvan. That was a fun episode. And it taught me about how much more outside of me there is, like how to zoom out and be less self-involved, know that I don't have it nearly as bad as so many people. It's just like such a cool way to get to know the community, because it lined up. I started co-hosting with Carolyn. She brought me on. It had already existed, the podcast, with another co-host, but when she brought me on, we only got 1 or 2 recordings under our belt before lockdown happened. So it was teaching me about this whole big world out there, but then literally, like, as everything's shutting down and we're like confined to our tiny apartments, like, I got to get every week like a glimpse into another world. It was awesome.
That was awesome. You know what? I feel like my episode, you weren't co-hosting at the time, but I think I was like in 2017, 2018. And my episode, I feel like, aged probably poorly, because the name of one of the is like regrets, breakup regret or something.
Oh my God. Well, that's opening you up to...
I just got through like a breakup and stuff, and I was just like, cause I was in the middle field of like, that back and forth crap, whatever. So now I can't really, I listen back to it before, just to like, oh God, you're so pitiful.
Oh my God. I can't listen to a single episode, because the entire time I was with someone who, in hindsight, was so wrong for me, and not realizing so much of that was literal emotional abuse, like just whatever. But I'm a different person. I can't re-listen at all.
It's hard. It's one of those things,
Hope it helps some people.
I'm sure it will help somebody that is going through the same thing, or hears certain I don't know, just kind of they hear themselves, you know what I mean? And I think those are the things that I learn from and that guide me, is when I hear like someone else's story. And it's not that I'm like wanting to hear all these stories, but like if it's a podcast and someone and I'm like, oh, that resonates with me, because like that's kind of how I would feel about the episode that I recorded, like with that, is like, all right, this is the place that I was in at the time, and I was a lost child, and I didn't realize how. Like it was the same, because it was one of those where like I'm in a situation that I shouldn't be in, and not I wish everybody well. I don't ever leave off in like bad ill, like, hey, I hate you, but it's one of those things where like I would just put it this way. I want to tell Carolyn, can we re-edit, and can we
I know there's so much I want to be like, can we just take this down entirely? Like, how about the episode with the girlfriend?
Oh yeah.
Because I bet if I listen back, it's just me trying to mask everything and being like, everything's good, and all that matters is I have a girlfriend, so I am legitimate enough to host this mic as a bisexual. You guys accept me because I have a girlfriend, right? And just. Yeah, not really being honest with myself or the listenership about the situation I was actually in.
But also, like, at the same time, it's like, even if you were to hear yourself back and, do you feel like there's anything that you're like, hey, like that kind of like a lesson that you'll always follow, you know what I mean? Like that it's something that you watch and you listen and you're like, man, I was in this place. And sometimes we go through those things with people, and they help us discover who we're not and what we don't want, and that we're better off, and that the people that are meeting you now are getting the best parts of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
they're seeing Melody outside of the relationship,
Yeah, the relationship and the pandemic, I want to stress that again, people only got to know me at my very worst. Like, I was thriving. 2019 was my year. Like, I was having a very different experience, and then like everything shuts down. I lose my job. My industry I work in is decimated. I'm like on the mic, like trying to hold it together. So there is episodes where I'm just trying to make everything seem fine. But I was also like, everyone's drinking wine and banging on pots, and I'm like, I'm sure there's just like so much on the record there that I just wish we could delete. But
I think that's fair. A lot of times there's a lot of shows, there's a lot of stuff that goes back and gets re-edited. Like that's not a weird thing, you know what I mean? And it's especially if like you're willing to do it yourself. It's like, hey, as long if you take it down or let me edit this out. But I can imagine, that's the part where, and you're not, the reason why I can relate so well with you is because I'll have like memories and stuff that'll pop up, and I'll literally go into, and a lot of this stuff is something that was tagged from Instagram to Facebook, and there's times I've had my ex on like a show or something like, or like we collaborated with stuff. I deleted all that. I was like, I don't know, like this didn't exist. Like I don't know if you're like that, but I'm one of those where I'm just like, I know the person existed in my life, but at this point I was just like, I don't know that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're totally different now.
And this was a comic, because it's hard to pretend someone doesn't exist when they're a comedian.
When they're circling around you. Right. It's
and
so different.
Have mutual friends and all that.
Yeah.
But I want to change anything. I still get messages from people who find diking out and are like Iranian and queer and like coming out to their family and say that like certain episodes help them. I have from like all over a German Persian girl who had just finally like gotten out because she could get a visa to go to school in Berlin, told me about how much diking out meant to her and made her realize she was queer. I get a lot of messages from former lesbians who are now bisexual. Sorry, dyke community, but that is an underrepresented little section of the community that I guess I helped. No, just I always got messages about what I thought was a bad thing, being without a filter and oversharing, and just immediately after recording feeling so much regret and shame, but then getting like messages from people thanking me. So at least it was worth it for, whoever out there benefited from it. But
that's the best part. That I would say I would kind of like leave it at that. You know what I mean? Because those are those are the people, as long as you touch someone and you like help someone do something, because we know what that feels like. We know what it feels like to be trapped or to feel trapped or to feel like, like they're literally in a not a safe space whatsoever. Nowhere they walk, nowhere they talk. Like they have to cover up so much. They don't even know if they'll ever be able to live in a place where they can be themselves.
Oh,
and
yes.
to hear somebody like you, because I think even when I met you, and there's another comedian too that I met a while ago, or years ago. But when I met you, I would say you're probably Iman.
Oh yeah,
is probably another. I think you're the only two that I know aware close to that is that, because I know other comedians and bigger comedians, but I would just say that I'm close to, and that that was right in my face, and where I saw it face to face. I would say that you guys really opened my mind up into your culture and things that you go through, even things that you fight for, things that what your parents are like. You know what I mean? You remind me of me, but I'm Black. You know what I mean? There's so many similarities and there's so many differences, and that's because you guys have immigrant parents that move here, and ironically they moved to South Carolina and I'm from South Carolina.
I'll never get over this. Yep. They're there.
So in dealing with that, but I think that's I think that all of it, your story, your background, I think that's something that people will always benefit from. And I think that you're unique, and the comedy community would always, I think that hearing a voice of yours is necessary, because I think that even the younger generation, they're just having a different style of how they're doing stand-up comedy, and it's not going to be the same, unfortunately, within the next 10 years. It's going to look a lot different. But I would say that we need the old school, and I'm sorry I'm referring to you as old school, but I'm really sorry.
Going to send you a long, strongly worded text in about an hour about how you're making me feel right now.
But I'm gonna get into this last question, because I think that this is something that we don't realize. That it's a good question to even ask. Our younger selves. What advice would you give your younger self? What if you could tell your younger self something just to either keep you going in life, or something that you need to hear right then and there? And when I say younger, I mean 5. 6 years old, just trying to figure it out,
Oh my God. Oh, Glow.
I know.
So dark.
So dark.
So dark. I mean, literally.
You're oh, cat. You're these feelings.
There's a lot to unpack with that one as a farewell question answer to that. But it's advice that I would give myself now, first of all, which I'm still struggling to take in and put into practice, which is just who cares? Get over the fear of failure, and I am my biggest critic. Okay, Capricorn Sun, Virgo Moon, Capricorn Rising. It's heavy, and I just need to let up on myself and get messy and allow room for failure to grow. I know that I really need to take some. Yeah, it's been a while. And I did have a big revelation where I journaled about just that the last time I was on shrooms, actually, in the woods at a writing retreat. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to maybe get some today.
Shit.
But I was super bullied as a kid, and especially 6 or 7. That was the last years before the extreme bullying. It was all white kids. I was in Connecticut, furry, brown, as puberty started, and body hair, and what made me different, and also a woman, eventually started coming in, and I started to hide a lot of that, but then also trigger warning, childhood sexual abuse. There was a lot of darkness, and it made me it completely dulled my shine. It made me retreat, and
it's that innocence is just kind of wiped away. Yeah,
robbed.
You're just okay, now I can't trust some stuff, and now things look scarier.
Yeah, everything was scary. And I, on top of that, was raised in an environment of fear and paranoia, because my parents were illegal. And literally didn't get their green cards until 3 days before 9/11. So there's just a lot there where I really hid away. I was very shy. I was a very outgoing kid up until the incident. And then, my advice would be, I mean, it's hard, but to just say fuck them and like put myself out there. Know that I got me if anyone else does. Like just like to, it took a long time. Like when I see family I haven't seen in a long time or friends that I grew up with, everyone is really shocked to know that I eventually did even get on a stage of some form, because I was very shy, scared, extremely obese, like because I just wanted to build a protective layer of like walls and walls and walls of fat around me so no one could touch me. Like it was night and day. So I am really, I would also say I'm proud of you already, and you'll see why, to that younger kid, because it's a night and day.
See, that's the best part. I'm proud of you already, and you'll see why. That's the part that I would leave that on, because that's a part where like we need to hear that. We need to know that's not going to necessarily come to our overprotective or protective parents. It's not going to come from family, and they may say it, but it's not going to be the way you need to hear it from yourself. And just saying, hey, I'm proud of you already. You know what I mean? Like, you just getting started, but you got so many awesome things that you're going to be like dealing with. And you're going to be dealing with all these like girls and shit. And like, you're going to be banging hoes.
Oh my God. You're going to meet
you're going to be freaking amazing.
From the L Word. You're going to literally party with the L Word cast
members.
That's
right.
At Henrietta Hudson.
This is not a
better.
This episode is too short. I swear, I gotta bring you back. We gotta have like this whole experience
about that night.
You live the best life with being able to see that in your presence. You know what I mean? In the presence of somebody where you can share like similarities with like another entertainer, another performer, another actor, you know, or actress, and it's just kind of like, and seeing that is on screen and they're gay, and I thought that was incredible, because this L Word Generation Q, yes, they wanted to fit everybody up in there. You know what I mean? They wanted to make sure we hit all the corners.
Cram them all in.
Right. But when it came to them, these two, I would say that made I was like, it's almost like when I see like a chocolate, like a black couple, like say, because now everything is like, no shade to, you know, definitely interracial relationships, but I'm just saying that like now you don't see, you know, on screen two black lesbians, right? Well, there are two on Amazing Race, but they are really slow and they suck. Anyway, so I'm not going there.
Really?
But, yeah.
Because I always see a little bit of it after Survivor. Should I be watching?
It's so good. And now it's even gayer. They have so many gay couples on this one.
I thought I saw gay people. Yeah, I think I saw who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I would just say that like I knew that was probably an incredible experience, or something that maybe you would or wouldn't have thought that you would see so soon or whatnot. Look how the progression works. Look how like amazing life can get to be able to see yourself on screen, and not just you know, I faced it like as identity goes, but just like, hey, there's another queer, there's another, like, this is a thing, like we can be open and talk about it, and like be Iranian and be like Persian or be this and that, and you know, it's just kind of like you know, you can.
Sorry, I got so excited remembering I literally watched Now and Then, the movie. It was a bunch of white girls, but there was like one character played by Christina Ricci, and it moves do you know, it like moves between time. It's like these girls, these four best friends in the 70s and then them in the 90s, and it goes back and forth, and the adult version is Rosie O'Donnell, and there's she's very queer coded, and to like, I watched it as a comfort movie over and over and over again, and then it's crazy to be like, that character feels gay but isn't explicitly gay, and fast forward a few decades and get to like interview Rosie O'Donnell and ask like straightforward, was that a gay character? Did you play it gay? And Rosie to be like, no, it was meant to be gay. They recut the movie after it tested poorly. People were grossed out that this lesbian was also a gynecologist as a profession. So yeah, you're right, it was a gay character, and be like, oh, I knew it, like things you connect with.
Oh my goodness,
best moment.
I gotta check. I think I saw that, but I'm gonna look it up when I go.
I put the video on my Instagram. It was so awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Melody, you know, I don't want to take up so much of your Saturday. I could be here all day. You've been incredible to talk to, and it's just good to catch up, because like we're not new to each other, you know.
Let's meet up.
Yeah, but I do want to play a fun game, quick game. this.
Oh my God.
But I do want to play a fun game, and so for all the listeners, I kind of already explained this to Melody. It's basically one of those rapid fire games where I'll just ask a quick question, and then Melody will say whatever's going to first come to mind. There's about 5 questions, and this is actually a good way for people to just get to know you a little better. These are actually like pretty personable questions. So, what is a go-to comfort movie for you?
Now and then. Because I just
Oh, yeah, you
it.
just said that. Yeah. Smart. I love that. Yeah, just keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. All right, let's see here. Worst job you've ever had?
Starbucks.
I feel that. Okay. And
I literally quit. I walked out like after being yelled at for not making the right firmness for someone's cappuccino. Like the foam wasn't firm in the way that she wanted, and I walked out. It was the Starbucks in Chicago in the Second City building.
Oh man,
that company.
I hope it closed down for the sake of that stupid crap. All right, queer icon you'd love to get drinks with. Ooh, maybe like a date, potential date.
Oh my God. God, Aubrey Plaza. Right now, there's so many that my mind is spinning.
It's like I just
don't
gotta pick one, right?
Yeah, Desiree Akban. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. Love it. All right. So if you could have any comedian open for you, who would it be?
Open for me?
Yeah.
Alana Glazer.
Oh, okay. She's fun.
You're
I like
opening
her.
for me.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. It's like, what? Okay, I guess. And then the last one, what's a random fun fact about you that people wouldn't expect? I feel like you have a lot of those. I don't know
where to start. I have overshared so many that are on the record currently, but you wouldn't know that when I was born, I had such a long delivery that I had aspirated my own feces. Ate my poop is how my parents say it. Feel like it's that I actually breathed it in. My joke is that in the family that Melody's always hungry. She was so hungry she was born eating her own shit because she couldn't wait for food.
my God.
It was like
terrible.
a movie when I was born.
My God. It's terrible.
Parents were my dad was getting my mom her craving Burger King. When her water broke and he was out, she didn't get to eat. So they went straight to the hospital. My dad came from work and hadn't had anything to eat too, which is important because after like 18 hours or whatever long it took, I come out, they're like, oh my God, we got to get her to the operating. Like, I ate my shit. Yeah, I ate shit out of the womb. I immediately ate shit. Okay, I am the underdog from the start. And then my dad saw me and passed out and fainted. And my mom, is already in a hospital bed. So it was my dad in a room, my mom in a hospital room, and then me in another room, all 3 of us. Wow. It was like an 80s movie. Don't the dads always pass out?
They used to back in the day. Like I think the dads are like sticking through. They used to
now,
back in the day. Like I think the dads are like sticking through it and stuff now. Like my brother he was like, you just look at the baby coming out. He's like, you're ruining it. It was just like I was like, you just look at the baby coming out. He's like, you're ruining it. No, they don't do that anymore. Like now the dads are like, but no, they don't do that anymore. Like now the dads are like,
yeah,
your
I'm
ass
the
is
man and I'm
like
strong.
not
and I'm
even.
like, gonna
But
sit through this now.
But yeah, I
Your
think
ass
that
is
was the reason
like,
why I was just
not
like,
even.
if I
ever get pregnant.
But
have a
yeah, I
baby,
think that was the reason why I was just like, if I want to be in the room alone because I think that that's insane. Yeah, I be in the room alone because I think that's insane. It's insane, but at the same time, I didn't know that's probably more common than you think. It's insane, but at the same time,
I know 2 other
it's
people.
probably more common than you think.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's a whole
there's
a whole community.
Well, I posted
there's
a
a
picture
whole-
once.
there's a whole community.
I don't know why. Again, always oversharing. Most of my Instagram is archived right now. I've had a real crisis about social media and how I fit into it. But I used to post and overshare, and I did once post a picture of me newborn, fresh out of that little operation. And 2 other people in the comments said that they too.
Oh wow.
Or no, one person said they had it as they were born. They aspirated their shit, and then another said my firstborn had the same thing.
Oh, gotcha. Wow, that is insane. Like,
What do people normally say?
All I got is I was a big baby. I was like 9 pounds, and my mom had me regular. Like, there were people who were, my mom, my brother was like 10 pounds, 11 out. Like, it's crazy. Like,
I came out with a full head of hair. And so,
Wow.
Middle Eastern, hairy, but I had a full head. So after all of that, they asked my mom, because it was like the late 80s, like, yeah, you could be in the hospital for a week with like a $2 bill. Like, they were there for a while. And insurance covered everything. So while we were there at the hospital, they asked if I could be a baby model for new mothers to learn how to wash their newborn's hair. So I was, my mom told the family back in Iran about this, and then it turned in the gossip wheel. It went from like I was used in a demo model, like how to wash baby hair, to like Melody is a baby model in the USA. And like all my cousins thought I was so cool. Like their American cousin is a model.
You're famous.
Got signed at 2 days old. Like,
wow.
So that was funny.
Yeah, you're meant for this. You're meant to be famous. That's all that meant. Like,
I'm a star.
That's insane. Yeah,
I don't get out of my way.
My partner's best friend just had a baby, and the baby has so much hair. Like, only thing you see when you see the pictures and videos is just hair. It's just, I've never seen a baby with so much hair. Did you have hair like all the way through like your first year and stuff? Because I know sometimes it can thin out.
It just kept growing. I had such thick hair. I had a unibrow. Born with a unibrow.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Just a
But I mean, those are the things you embrace. Like, I know there's a lady on TikTok that literally, like, she lets her children come to her to let them know if they have a problem with something, and she'll help them cut it. Like, she has a little eyebrow thing that she uses with them. Because, they have unibrows. And so I was just like, I've seen people embrace their unibrow and just, like, say, F it. I think that identity, like, not just identity, but, like, physical appearance, that's up to who you are and what you want, not what society tells us.
I love it. It's different.
But anyway, that wraps up the show for today. And I was so grateful to be able to catch up with you and just to be able to connect and, just be able to like just vibe. You know what I mean?
Likewise.
So I want everyone to know where they can follow you, where they can see your shows or see whatever you're working on now. Like what are your handles, or if you have a website, whatever.
It's always at Melody Kamali on anything.
Okay.
I am not the best about my digital footprint. But I'm in therapy now, and we're tackling that. I gotta get with the times. I gotta post. I know I do. I say this every year. It's my New Year's resolution to post. It's literally it. That's my Everest, is being a social media using comedian. So
it's
follow the journey. Like, see if I post.
Do you have a TikTok? Is it TikTok Melody Kamali too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well,
I think I'll start there because it's like feels more. It's not all these people I know in real life that I feel like are judging me. It's really just that
randoms that just start to love you. It's a lot of fun. Like I talk about
are you loving
women's.
It?
Yeah, well, only because I talk about women's basketball a lot. But then like that and
we
talk
didn't even go there.
We didn't. Oh my gosh! And it's coming up, and then we have. Are you watching college basketball? Are you watching the March Madness?
I got my bracket. It is no longer perfect.
Five, or I think 4 or 5 I missed for yesterday's game.
Nice. But I can't believe we didn't talk about the WNBA because college basketball, huge for me growing up. And going to UConn games. That's how I knew it was gay.
Did you go to UConn?
But I transferred out to that Chicago art school. But I grew up in Hartford, and that's where they played, either at their campus or in the like downtown convention center.
Who was on the team? Was it Sue Bird?
Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Shay Ralph, Swin Cash.
She had it when it was golden.
It was truly like the 99 games I was at, the 2000 when the men and the women won the NCAA tournament. It was just an iconic time. I feel lucky to have grown up there at that time.
Who's your Final Four?
Oh my God! Oh, for this bracket.
Mm-hmm. Well, who's your Final Four? Who's your Final Four? Who do you have taking it all?
I have, of course, UConn taking it all. We need to get a championship title again and get back
You think
to...
Paige Beckers needs one before she
has to. AZ Fudd. Did you see... Oh, I know you're South Carolina.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah. Did you see that UConn game versus South Carolina?
I did. They had a bad game, but you know what? We never repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Because
for the vengeance they're going to come with.
Yeah, you saw how bad they hit Texas. It could have been worse.
Oh, yeah.
But, But I don't think that Texas even would have won SEC tournament if it wasn't for so many injuries on LSU's team, honestly. Texas is a little overhyped for me right now. But yeah,
I have one bracket with them in the Final Four, and then one with instead of Texas, it's Notre Dame.
Okay, I have Notre Dame in my Final Four. I have them. I have Notre Dame, South Carolina, USC. Go Juju.
Same.
And then I have
for one.
LSU, just because my partner went to LSU, so I have to.
Nice.
But also LSU is cool. You know what I mean? I like them. But
I love them. Kim, come on.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I might be like, when
it's my favorite time of the year.
Yeah,
because then we get the draft, and then we're in the W.
And then we're in, and then we're back, and then now we have Tasha Cloud and freaking Isabel Harrison, who are
we have the hottest lesbian. L-word. Yeah. We have the hottest lesbian couple in America, but also in the WNBA, in sports, in our team.
Yes,
because after season
after DeWanna Barner and
Alyssa Thomas.
What is it? Alyssa Thomas are on the same team. It's like, okay. Oh well, we do have
Dejanay Carrington
and Melissa on the same team. So we got two couples.
And then if Paige goes to Dallas, she's not like an out person, but we got Riz, we'll say.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a change in a lot of these newbie rookies and stuff. Like, because there's a lot of the life of a college life is different than when they get out and they're able to like be. Because if we look back at like the draft picks of even Chelsea Gray, like what a dress! Like,
I know.
I was just like, how did y'all not know?
God. Sue Bird too, like in that millennial like business casual like femme kind of clothing they'd wear, like when they had to go to the White House after they won a title and they're in like a pencil skirt. So funny.
Yeah. I was just like, what? But that was so like early 2000. No, like that was so like 10, like 15. I would say like 10 years ago, where like people were still doing like the. I don't want to say 10, maybe a little bit more than that, but where people.
You're thinking of Chelsea Gray's dress.
I'm thinking of Chelsea Gray's dress. I'm like, did she hit the last like closeout sale to Wet Seal? That's terrible.
So specific and true.
But I love her. Shout out to Chelsea Gray, who demolished Unrivaled. I think she had. I did, and I was just so happy. Don't get me wrong. I say this to say this first. Lunar Owls love. Okay, don't get me wrong. They earn what they earn, but I'm glad it was given to, I'm glad this was something that happened differently and not another, no shade Nafisa, don't come for me, but another Nafisa, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was getting, UConn fan all the way. Nafisa is a Husky after all, but like, I don't know. I know, and I watch NBA too, and I love the trash talk and the egos of it all too, but something was starting to feel a little like, I want to see other people. Like she plays the entire game too. Yeah. Like it was like the Nafisa show for, like she's on a vengeance tour after last championship game.
Yeah,
with Stewie and the Liberty.
That, and then also they were like, people were saying, oh, if Asia Wilson hadn't gotten like MVP, they were like, she was deserving. Yeah. But you know what? I don't know why, but I just can't get into Minnesota Lynx. I don't know why.
I know. Well, now I really can't after this last season. Commissioner's Cup, I was at that game. They beat us. And then, the finals.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what do you have season tickets, or are you like just going?
This is the first year. My partner got season tickets. Normally, I'm just hustling around for tickets. They used to be so cheap that I didn't.
Oh, they got like they went up a lot.
Yeah,
and I'm the one that waited too long, and now all the season tickets, the ones that are they're like not good seats. You know what I mean? So I have a couple of people, and that's why I bring back TikTok, or I get back to talking about TikTok. Is that like I've met so many people on TikTok, man. I got like 1,000 followers in like a week just because, or extra followers because of people just wanting to talk about WNBA and basketball and stuff. But I would just say that it's one of those things where you just have to, it's one of those consistent topics, just always talk about it. And also like the lesbian community, they love everything. Like they'll come to, they'll come to you.
Glow, I just thought of a show. It's going to be us set up like a FaceTime, and we're giving the lesbian tea of the week from the W once the season starts. I swear to God, because we seem to both be obsessed in a very specific way.
Oh my God. Yeah, because Ari has to tell me to turn it off. Like she was like, all right, I'm tired of basketball. But it's one of those things. Now it was like year round because you had Unrivaled. You know what I mean? We didn't have a break, but I love it.
I know.
I love it. But so may the best team win.
Yes.
May the best team win.
May UConn win.
Oh,
that's so funny that you're literally South Carolina and I'm from Connecticut. And
this was a good conversation until you announced it. I'm gonna have to edit that part. I'll be like, you know what? It doesn't matter what you just said.
This is gonna be the first time that I am upset that. Not everything that I overshared, and that I want more of what I said on a podcast. I want it all included. Don't you dare.
Don't mute me. Don't mute me.
You'll be hearing from my lawyers.
Yes. All right, y'all. So Melody Kamali on all handles. Please look at Melody. She is freaking hilarious. Follow her for all the WNBA and all the just the stuff that she's funny and like a cool person, and you will probably almost want to be best friends with her. But in that case, you guys, that wraps up our conversation. Melody, it's been a joy to have you here today.
So much.
Give it up one more time for Melody Kamali, one of my favorite comedians in the scene right now. If you've loved this episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, and share with a friend. New episodes drop every Thursday on YouTube and Spotify, so don't miss it. And speaking of that, make sure you're following us. You can catch every episode on YouTube and Spotify at Undefining the Pod, and follow us on Instagram at Undefining Podcast. But for updates, behind the scenes, and all the good stuff that comes along with that, all right? So until next time, keep breaking the rules, redefining yourself, and remember, you don't have to fit into anyone's box but your own. See you next time.
Undefining.